Hi everyone, it's Jason here. Today we'll be reviewing how to issue quotations to our customers. To start, let's talk about how we can set up our profile so that we can most efficiently issue quotations to our potential customers. We'll start by going into the menu and clicking Quotations and then Quote Configuration. So you'll notice right away that each of these fields has been pre-populated with values. What we'll want to do is review this content to ensure that it's suitable for our business before we issue any quotes. So we'll start with the first field, Quotation Terms. So these are the terms of the quotation, as the title suggests. These will be displayed at the bottom of each and every quotation that you create. If you have special terms associated with your quotations, you'll want to enter them here, and these terms will also be displayed to the customer on the online approval form so that they understand what they're agreeing to. If there are any cancellation or restocking fees associated with canceled orders or bookings, you should call those out in this section. For the purposes of this video, we'll just keep the default write-up, but I encourage you to spend some time on this section and make sure that it's appropriate for your business. All right, so the next field is days to approve. So when we create a quotation for a customer, there's really two ways that they can approve of that quote. We can email them a link to a secure form where they can then see the quoted pricing for the services, and they can choose to accept or decline the quote using that form. In addition, if a client has signed up for the client portal, they can access quotations from that portal and they can approve or reject them from there. If we want to limit the amount of time that the customers have to approve their quotes online, what we'll do is we'll enter a number in this field. So let's say, for example, we want to give clients 14 days to approve their quotes after we've created them. We'll enter 14 there. All right, so let's say that we're creating a quotation for a customer, but we're not attaching a specific appointment date to it. In that case, we want to let customers know that the quote will only be honored for, say, the next 30 days. In order to do that, we'll just make sure that we have 30 in this field here. We can also control the messaging that we show to the customer upon acceptance of the quote. So as you can see, the default message just thanks them and indicates that we look forward to doing business with them. Feel free to update this message as you wish. Similarly, we can also define what messaging we want to send them after they've rejected a quote. So feel free to keep the default or modify it to your liking. All right, so with all of these settings in place, we'll click Save. All right, so when it comes to our quote builder, the services that you can select from and the pricing of those services is all driven from the same configuration that our booking form uses. That's our online booking form. More specifically, I'm referring to the primary services and the extra services pages of the booking form setup. So you don't necessarily need the booking form to be enabled on your website in order for the quotation builder to make use of those services and the pricing. But I should mention that for information on how to set up those services, I definitely encourage you to check out the booking form setup tutorial if you haven't already. For now, I'm just going to assume that you've watched the booking form setup tutorial. I believe it's tutorial 2. And what we'll do is we'll jump into the quotation builder. So in order to do that, we'll click Quotations and we'll click Create Quote. So from here, we're going to select the customer that we'd like to create the quotation for. I'll select Jimmy. All right, so now that we're in the quote builder, let's have a look at the options. At the top here, we see a listing of the properties that we can select from. In this case, we've got a couple. It defaults to the property that we identified as a default property within the customer profile. So we'll stick with this one. This next box, when clicked, simply serves as links to the primary services and those additional services that we can set up. So it's just an easy way to access the setup. If we scroll down, we've got the primary service that we can select from. So here we've got different types of cleaning: base cleaning, deep cleaning, move in, out. And then below that, we've got the extra services that we've set up. Again, this configuration is identical to that of our booking form. These are the same services that would appear on our online booking form. All right, so now that we've actually had a look at the cost components, let's prepare a quick quotation here. So what I'll do is we'll select extra deep cleaning, and it's for 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. We'll say that we have 2 ovens, and we're also needing the inside of the fridge to be cleaned. All right, so the customer's also requested that we wash the light fixtures, and since we don't have an extra service defined specifically for that, what we can do is use our free form section to document that. So we'll say light fixtures, and we'll say that's $75. And we can add as many free form line items as we want here. We'll click save. So next we'll select a start date and time for the appointment. And keep in mind here, the availability shown on this form is reflective of our real-time availability. So in this case, we've only got a few slots open on this day. We'll select 11 a.m. Next field is the start time window. So based on how our business operates, what I can say is that we can't guarantee exact arrival times, but what we do know is that we can always make our start time within a window of plus or minus 30 minutes. And so we've said that our expected arrival time is 11 a.m. We know that we're going to arrive anywhere between 10:30 a.m. and 11:30 a.m. That's a window of 1 hour. So I'm going to enter 1 hour here as our start time window. We'll select a frequency of 1 time. And then if we want to apply a discount to this quote, we can enter a coupon code here. We'll actually skip that for the purposes of this demonstration. All right, so we've got special instructions next. We'll say that this client has asked us to use the oven cleaner that they've provided. So we'll make a note on that. And the next field is the preferred team for this job. So if either we or the client has a preference for which team gets scheduled to this job, we can indicate that here. We've got 2 teams set up. With this setting in place after the quote has been approved, the auto schedule will run over this job and give priority to the team indicated in this field. So we'll say that we prefer that the clean team be scheduled to this job. And then here we can indicate whether or not we want other teams to be auto-scheduled to this job if the clean team is not available. If they're not available at this time, we're entirely fine with other teams being auto-scheduled to the job. All right, so if we look at the quote summary, we've got our item total, we've got our subtotal, we've got our sales tax here, and the total of the job. So what we'll do now is we'll save this quote. Right, so the quotation has been created. Let's just have a quick look at how it's structured. So at the top here, we've got our company information. We've got information on the quote, its ID, the date we quoted, the status. We've got the customer information, the special instructions, and then the detail of the work, including the frequency of the appointment time. We see our range here that indicates we'll arrive at either, sometime between 10:30 a.m. and 11:30 a.m. We've got our services with the pricing, and then we've got the disclaimer at the bottom here. All right, at the top, if we scroll up, I'll just go over this section here. So when you're in the detail for a quote, you can click this button to go back to the customer's profile. You can look at the quotation list by clicking this button. The document button simply takes us back to the actual quotation document itself. The notes button allows us to see notes that we've added to the customer or notes that we've added to this specific transaction itself. The photos button allows us to upload photos to this quotation. If the customer is approving the quote on the client portal, they'll actually see these photos. So we can show this as an example. Not a great example, but we'll say in this scenario we're going to show them a picture of how clean their kitchen will be after we've completed the work. Hopefully this will entice them to take the job. If we click photos, we see the photo that we've uploaded, and if we want to share this photo with the client so that they can see it in the client portal, we'll click share with client. When it's green, that means it's shared. Lastly, actually no, we've got two more buttons. We've got the actions button. From here, we've got a few things that we can do. We can just send the quote to the customer via email. If the customer has reached out to us and indicated that they approve of the quote, we ourselves can mark it as approved. If they reach out to us and indicate that they would like to reject the quote, we can mark it as rejected. Alternatively, we can request approval of the quote. Clicking this button will send the client an email with that link to the secure form where they can accept or reject the quote. And the last tab is the log tab. So within this event log, we can see various actions that have been performed against the quote. We've just got a couple actions created so far. So we've created the quote and then we've uploaded a photo to the job. Right? So now that we've looked at the creation of a quotation, let's have a quick look at our list of quotations. So let's click this button up here. And from here, what we can do is filter this list. We can look at all quotations, those that are pending approval, quotes that have been rejected, quotes that we've marked as approved, quotes that the client has approved online, as well as expired quotes, right? So we can do quite a bit of filtering. If we're wanting to look at the quotations that apply to an individual customer, what we can do is click on that customer's name, and then within their client profile or customer profile, we can click quotes. And as you'll see here, the scope of this list is just the customer itself, and the filter list is the same. All right, so with that, I suppose I just want to finish with a few quick points. Point number one is that once a quotation has been created, to protect the integrity of that document, it cannot be edited. If you've made a mistake on a quotation, simply mark it as rejected and create a new one. Point number two is that you'll be emailed upon approval or rejection of the quote by the customer. So keep an eye on your email. You'll be informed right away after they make a decision on which way they want to go. Point number three, the acceptance of a quotation by either the customer or by you marking it as approved will trigger a couple of things. It'll trigger the creation of a booking in your calendar, and it also creates a future dated invoice. Now, when you are building the quote, if you select a frequency of, say, weekly, when the quote is approved, future dated appointments will automatically be created in your calendar for each and every week going forward. I guess point four is that if auto scheduling is enabled, as soon as the quote is accepted, your future dated appointments that will be created off the quote will be auto scheduled to your staff. And lastly, you'll want to keep an eye on your dashboard because it will give you critical information on the status of your quotes. Within the dashboard, if you click on the Jobs tab, You'll see the percentage of quotes accepted in the past month. And we can also see the number of quotes outstanding as of today. Right, so that's pretty much it for this video. If you have any questions about anything that we've covered, feel free to submit a ticket or contact us using the details on our Contact Us page. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.